Hello, everyone. I want you to like this page and share it, like it and share it, because I have a special guest, my business partner, Dr. Cheryl Wood. You know, there's speakers and there's speakers. And she's a speaker's speaker. And she trains speakers as well. And she's having a speaking summit. And she's invited me to be there. And so I want her to share that with you and just all the other things that she's doing. Hello, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me here.
I know your husband became very spiritual when he saw you. He said, "The Lord is my shepherd. I see what I want."
I
How
love it.
long have you been speaking?
My first speaking engagement was September 18th, 2010. I remember it like it was yesterday because I was sweating bullets. My stomach was in knots. My palms were sweating. And I was like, why did I say yes? So I just celebrated 10 years in September.
Do you remember when we first met? I remember.
Of
Where
course
were
I
you?
do.
You do? Where was it?
It was in Arlington, Virginia. You were speaking at an event, and it had been my lifelong dream to meet you. I spoke about you in all of my speeches, and I
Mhm.
finally got that opportunity to meet you. And that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's look at the summit and what that it involves and what will be able people be able to take away from that.
You know what? As you and I were working together, there was something that you said based on you hearing some of the speaking that I did. And you said, your whole message is about you are enough. Just as you are, which I say constantly in my presentations when I'm sharing with other women. And that's the name of the conference. You are enough.
Mhm.
And it is really just a reaffirmation and confirmation for individuals to know that you are more than enough to fulfill your God-given assignment. Like all of us have a divine assignment on this earth, and a way that we're able to use our unique fingerprint where nobody can touch lives the way we touched it. And
Yeah.
people sometimes just need to be reminded of that because life gut punches us. Life will knock you down over and over and over, and you'll start to question, man, can I really get back up? Am I really enough to keep pressing forward? Can I persevere through this? And we just want to remind people that yes, you are more than enough, and you can do the very thing that you have been placed on this earth to do. And that's the thing that's going to allow you to change people's lives. So we need you to consistently reinforce and reaffirm for yourself that you are enough.
What was the period in the experience that you had that told you when life had just slapped you senseless? You got to dig deep to get through this.
Mm.
Okay. And what did you say to yourself? What happened when that took place?
Yeah, you know what? It goes back to when I was working in corporate America. So I worked as a legal secretary for 15 years in corporate America. And
Mhm.
honestly, I did that because I feel like we do what we know how to do until we're bold enough and courageous enough to interrupt our norm and do something different, even though it's
Oh,
scary
no,
and
no,
unfamiliar.
don't run past that. That's powerful. You dropping some truth up in here, up in here.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So I remember I was at a new job. I'd done this legal secretary thing for probably 13 years, 14 years, and I just switched to a new job for a law firm in DC. And I was there for about 2 weeks. And the person that I was going to be reporting to, and I always had these senior level positions, right? I was supporting like the CEO or the CFO or a partner of the firm, rainmakers who bring a lot of money in. And I was good at what I did. I didn't love it, but I was good at it. So I go to this new job. I'm there for 2 weeks. The person that I'm supporting isn't even there. She's on travel. She comes back, and the day she comes back, I get called into the HR office. Now, I assume that they are calling me into the office to praise me, sing my praises, tell me how amazing I am. But it was just the opposite. They were there to tell me that the lady said, oh, we don't think it's going to work out. I believe it was related to race, right?
Mhm.
But I had no proof of that other than what my gut told me. And I've learned to trust my instinct and my gut. And I will never forget, as they're sharing this with me, my heart is breaking inside. And all I'm thinking as I'm hearing them speak is, oh my God, they're about to let me go. How am I going to pay my mortgage next month? How am I going to pay my car note? I got 3 kids that like to eat 3 times a day. Like I felt so distraught in that moment, but I was trying to keep it together. And I was trying not to let the tears stream down my face because I was so worried and stressed about the finances of my household from this unexpected somebody dangling my check in front of me and taking it away. And I had no control. And I remember in that moment, as I'm fighting tears, because I didn't want them to see me as weak. I'm fighting tears. I'm trying to keep it together, be a professional and not cry. But inside, my soul is breaking. And I remember saying when I left out of that room, nobody will ever have that kind of control over me ever again. And I just from that day forward started talking to myself different. I started reading books that would shift who I was inside because I never wanted to have anybody to have that much power over my life.
Wow. And you kept that commitment to yourself, did you?
Yes, I did.
And I say, you're hungry.
I'm hungry, Les Brown. I got to work. I didn't play around. I'm not the person who's going to talk you to death. I'm going to put actions in because what I know, here's what I've learned. Your expectation can never be bigger than your execution. So you can expect all day long. You can be hungry all day long. But if you don't put some work in, if you don't execute and implement, you can never live in a place called expectation. So I got to work.
That'll preach. Your expectations can never be bigger than your execution.
That's it.
That'll preach. Come on now. You know, when I talk with you, it's such fun. I love your laughter and your charisma and your presence and your knowledge and your drive and hunger to make a difference in other people's lives. And you are helping women to find their voice. Talk about your agency, your business, and how you're helping women.
Yeah, this has been an amazing journey. I tell people all the time now, I'm in like the sexy chapter 11 of it, but baby, chapters 1 through 9 was not so sexy. There was a lot of me really having to eliminate my toxic thinking because I grew up in poverty. I grew up in an inner city housing project out of Baltimore, Maryland. So I didn't grow up in an environment where anybody was telling me I could be a giant in the world. Instead, they were telling me just the opposite. You're going to be another statistic. So when you grow up in a housing project and you're seeing violence and crime and drug addiction and people addicted to those drugs and selling the drugs on every other corner and teenage pregnancy. And then in your own household, there's dysfunction because my father suffered from alcoholism. He would get so nasty when he got drunk and he would become physically abusive to my mom. And I remember there were times when my mother would whisper at 2 a.m. saying, get up, let's go. And she's literally sneaking us out of the house to get away from my father and his drunken bouts and his violence. And she's taken us to a place called the House of Ruth in Baltimore, which is a protective place for abused women and their children. I remember that like it was yesterday. And when you grow up and there's dysfunction in your house and there's dysfunction outside of you, around you, everywhere you turn, there's dysfunction and there's scarcity and there's chaos, you assume that you're just going to be another statistic. A lot of the kids I grew up with became statistics. And there was something inside of me. And I was like, I can't settle for less. I've got to do something bigger. So when I graduated high school out of Baltimore, I didn't go for 4 years of higher learning. I didn't go for 4 years of self-discovery at a university or Ivy League university. I went straight from the hood to the workforce. Why? Because when you come from scarcity at that level, we were so beneath the poverty line that we had to be on government assistance. You're not worrying about thriving. You're not worrying about education. You're trying to survive and get the heck out of the hood. And I wanted to pull myself out of that environment and my mother. So I went straight from high school into the workforce. And that's how I got stuck, if you will, in that space for 15 years. So even when I came into the corporate space, they were still telling me, you're not enough. You're never going to be this giant in the world because you don't have a piece of paper that says you're good enough. I didn't have letters behind my name. So now I go from one toxic environment of scarcity, growing up in the poverty, to the next toxic environment of corporate America telling me, well, you don't have degrees and letters behind your name, so you're not good enough. And it just seemed like it kept compiling. And it really just came to a head in 2009. 2 significant things happened. One was the situation I mentioned with the job loss. And me as a mother of 3, I was like, this is not okay. I cannot relinquish control of my life to anybody like this ever again. And the second big thing was that I lost my father in 2009. He passed away of a massive heart attack in his sleep. He was 59 years old, Les. And that was the first call I got on Thanksgiving Day of 2009 that my father was gone. And I lived in close enough proximity where when I got the call, I was able to drive to his home. And when I got there, the medical examiner was still there. I literally watched them close my father in a body bag. And I remember thinking to myself, I know he wasn't done. I know he had more life to live. I know he had more goals and things he wanted to strive to accomplish. But the reality is there's no coming back. There's no, oh, I should have, I would have, I could have. And it was a wake-up call for me to say, Cheryl, if you really want to live life, if you want to stop doing this craziness that you're doing called existing, you had better wake up and you better do it now because your tomorrow is not promised. And from that moment forward, it was like this new Cheryl was birthed that said, I'm not going to settle for less. I'm going to disrupt my norm. I'm going to try things that scare me because if it don't scare me, it can't possibly grow me. If it doesn't scare me, I'm just doing what's familiar.
Come on now, wait a minute. Don't scare me. It can't possibly grow me. Cheryl, you know what? You just drop those pearls over. You know you get me excited. Come on up in here. If it don't scare me, it can't possibly grow me. That's powerful. Cheryl, but you know, I was talking about the other day, live life like you mean it. And what I love about you, your energy. You live life like you mean it. When you speak like you mean it. This is the kind of energy that people need to be around. Energy that will lift them up. Energy that's positive. Energy that's passionate. Energy that's directed toward expressing the next greatest version of yourself. And that's why I'm so excited about working with you, because today, if you want to make it one, you got to have a mindset that I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. The other thing is you got to learn continuously. You got to continuously upgrade your knowledge. And the next thing that is possible, you've got to surround yourself with people like yourself that lift your spirit, that inspire you, that coach you, and take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself. And so if people would like to get in touch with you and the programs that you're conducting, and also interested in the summit that you're going to have, where I will be able to come, and I talked to Tyrone, he's coming too. He promised that he will practice social distancing. So
we welcome Tyrone.
All right, thank you so much. I'm sorry. Tyrone, she said you can come too. Okay, so I had a friend the other day. She said, don't you tell anybody else about Tyrone. Do you hear me? I said, okay, Erica McKay. All right, I won't tell anybody else. So tell them about your website where they can get all the information.
Yep, you can come to CherylEmpowers.com and get connected with me and become part of my VIP community there. And you can follow me all across social media at Cheryl Empowers. I'm always doing something to uplift, inspire, motivate, encourage someone else, because I have been intentional and continue to be intentional about making my life bigger than me. That's what legacy is for me. It's making my life bigger than me, making sure that my unique fingerprint counts, because my tomorrow is not promised, and I will not take my untapped potential to the grave. So I want to help as many people as possible. Cheryl Empowers all across social media, and my website is CherylEmpowers.com.
Powerhouse. My prayers go up to your father, and he has crossed over. Your mother's still here?
My mother's still here, yes. But you know, we recently had 2 tragic losses in my family.
Yeah.
And again, like you mentioned this the other day when we talked about how life will send you interruptions. Yes. And those interruptions remind you to have a sense of urgency about living in your truth, about sharing your gift and doing the thing you are born to do. So literally 6 months ago, we lost my nephew, 20 years old, in Baltimore due to a tragic motorcycle accident. He was an amazing kid. I mean, going into his junior year at Morgan State University, whew, academic scholar on the dean's list, athletic scholar, the starting wide receiver for the Morgan State Bears. The NFL was already looking at him. He had so much life ahead of him. But the reality is, he only got 20 short years to create his legacy. We don't know what our time is going to be here. We don't know what number it's going to be. But all I know is, oh, my dash is going to count. My dash is going to touch lives and transform lives. You're going to know what I was called to do, because I'm going to make sure I stand in it. I walk in it every day that I have life and breath in my body. So all of us, we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to God not to leave our gifts wrapped up, but to open those gifts up, unleash them, unveil them, touch lives with them. Somebody, look, always remember this. Somebody is waiting on what you are sitting on. I'm just saying.
Girl, wait a minute. Now you about to make me run around the neighborhood in my Mickey Mouse underwear and pajamas.
Look,
Somebody is waiting on what you're sitting on. I'm going to make that one famous for you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, help me out. Chevrolet, Chevrolet, Honda, Honda, Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Tababow tie, tababow tie. All right. I love talking to you. We got to do this more often because you're the only person I know can drop those pearls better than I do. Wow. All right. Well, it's such a pleasure talking to you. Once again, tell them your website so they can reach out to you.
CherylEmpowers.com and social media at Cheryl Empowers. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And Mr. Les Brown, just thank you. You have been inspiring me from afar for years, long before I met you in person 8 years ago. And I just thank you for your powerful voice in the marketplace. I thank you for your abundance mindset and having me as a part of your platform. I am forever grateful. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for who you are and how you serve in the world.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and you're using your voice, your story, and your passion to make a difference on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to drop this on you. Somebody's waiting for what you're sitting on is what somebody's waiting for. Did I get it right?
You are sitting on what somebody is waiting on.
You're sitting on what somebody's waiting on. Ooh, sometimes you got to get ugly for the Lord. I love to make you laugh. We had a great time. We had our session together, didn't we?
We
Oh,
did. I'm
oh,
so
boy.
grateful. So grateful.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much. And may
Thank you.
God continue to bless your work and the people that you train and the summit. I'm excited about being there, and I'm gonna have you at my summit too. So we're gonna have a great time together. There's nothing like having powerful partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Cheryl Wood, ladies and gentlemen. She's awesome. Make sure you reach out to her. You have something special. You have greatness in you, and what you're setting on, somebody's waiting on. Oh, behave. Whatever. Listen, I got a special gift for you at hungrytospeak.com. I got a set of motivational messages I want you to listen to and spread to others. I want you to be an ambassador of hope, and I'm giving away free these motivational videos and a free training with my son John Leslie and I. Go to hungrytospeak.com. I just love the radiance of of how she comes across and the impact that she's making. You have something special. You have greatness in you. Don't forget to go to hungrytospeak.com. Get the free training and the free motivational materials called Choosing Your Future. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Bye for now.